Welcome to this video. My name is Rajvir, founder of Code and Compile, and in this video, I'm going to present WebIQ on ctrlX Core Smarter Web HMI. Now, you have seen my last videos in which I was making dashboards using Node-RED and showing you how you can display factory data easily and flexibly using ctrlX data layer. But now in this video, I'm going to talk about a smarter way to make dashboards using WebIQ. Now first, let's understand what is WebIQ and what we're going to do in this video. Now WebIQ is the first 100% web-based industrial HMI SCADA toolbox from the expert Smart HMI and the UX design agency UIT. So this is a software in which you can design your HMI. And why it's smarter? Because it supports various technologies like OPC UA, Modbus, HTML5, CSS, JavaScript. You don't need any browser plugin, just a normal web browser, and you can display your data. And it even works on your smartphone and your tablet. So in this video, we're going to see how you can create a Smart HMI, and then later on I will show you how you can run this HMI on ctrlX Core using the runtime. So as I said, to sum up WebIQ, it's a software for people without programming knowledge, especially who are new to the programming world. They can quickly drag and drop and you have your HMI ready. I'm going to show you a small example for that. And also it includes predefined widgets. You just have to drag and drop, connect your data to your PLC, for example, and you can visualize it super easily. All right. And last but not the least, it also has a feature to run your HMI on any smart device. You can just put your IP address and then you can view your HMI on your smart device like mobile phones or tablets. All right. So let's understand how this software works. So in this case, we have WebIQ Server, which I'm going to run in my ctrlX Core. So you need to have this app, WebIQ Server Runtime app, that should be installed in your ctrlX Core. Parallelly, you can also do that in your computer. So I'm going to show you both ways. All right, this is the app which will take care of your user management, events, alarms, data recorders, and APIs. And then you have a WebIQ Designer. WebIQ Designer is to design your HMI. So first you're going to design that, and then you can run this designer or run this your designed HMI on the server. So designer is like what you see, what you get. Editor without any programming experience, you can do that. We're going to see that in a few minutes. So that's how the WebIQ server and designer works together. So let's see our first example. We have to create our first HMI. We have to put some logo, buttons, and we have to run that on ctrlX Core. So in this case, I'm going to show you how you can set up an account and you can organize the containers, which are very important because we're going to make a responsive layout. And then we're going to add some text, logo, visual elements, and we're going to read some simulated values from WebIQ OPC UA Server. So let's begin. First thing is you have to download WebIQ Designer from the Smart HMI website. You can download that for free from their website and you can use it for 30 days trial period without making any transaction, without paying for that. So you can use 30 days free trial period. Once you install this software, you just have to run it, WebIQ Designer, on your computer. So if you are interested, you can just install now, pause the video, and then you can follow along with me. All right, so once you do that, you will see your project list, and here you don't see any project in your case, maybe just the WebIQ tutorials because I was working on the projects already. So let's create a new project. I will go here, new HMI project. I have to give a title. I will say project 1. And in this case, I have my folder automatically renamed to project 1. If you want to give any icon or a picture of your project, which you can see here, you can give that. Otherwise, it will show you a default photo, description for training purpose, something like that. So project 1 for training purpose. And then you go to user settings where you will define your ID and password. I'm just going to take Code and Compile and my standard password. And if you go to starter, you will see there are several templates which you can use and start customizing that. But I'm going to start from the scratch. So main setting, title, folder, description, username and password. Let's create a project. It will take a couple of seconds or minutes based on your computer speed, and it will initialize a project for you. And then we're just going to drag and drop and read the values. This is going to be very interesting if it's the first time you're going to design your HMI, and you can see that how easy it is nowadays to design an HMI if you don't have programming experience. Super easy. All right. This is the project 1. This is our blank canvas. You can see in the back. And here we're going to design an HMI. So let's say we design an HMI with a header, footer, and some content in the middle. In this case, it's very important. You have to be familiar yourself with the hierarchy on the right. This is going to help you a lot to organize your content. You have hierarchy, style, and configuration. So by default, when you start it, you will see a root here. All right. And this root, if you go to the style, you will see its width and its height and how much you want to grow or shrink it. So this is the outline of your root. If I go to my hierarchy and say show outline, it's like this. And I want to take all the area. I want to take all the area with my root container. So what I can do is I can say I want my height to be 100%. Now I can see my root is my complete area which I want to design. All right. Let's go back. Now you have content. Let it be here. Now I want to design my header. In this case, I go on my left side. You can see there's a widget list. And here you can see a lot of widgets here. So let's go to the layout container. And I'm going to take a horizontal flex container. So just drag and drop here. And you can see that pink line will tell you where you want to drop that. So I will drop it above the content. This is my container and this is my horizontal container, which visualize like this. So I can rename that to header in this case, press enter and come back here. Now this is my header. Now I want to make this header having 2 buttons and 1 logo. All right. Before that, I want my button and logo to have some distance from the edges. In this case, we go to style and we go to padding. You can see that here you can define what you want to do with your header. So this is the style property of your hierarchy header. Okay. I can define a padding of 16, apply to all directions. And now you can see that the header is expanded because the 16 pixel paddings are added to each direction. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I want a button here. Let's say a home button. And I want here a logo. And on the right side, I want an info button. Super easy. Go to your widget list and check the widgets. Oops, once again, go to your widgets and you have a button here. Just drag and drop. And you have a button here. Super easy. Go to style or maybe to config and the label. I don't want to mention any name here, so you can maybe just delete that. Press enter. Now the button is empty, but I want an icon here. In this case, I will say show icon and upload an icon in my project. My icon is in my desktop. Here we go. We have a folder for my project. This is my home icon in SVG format, so you can define your own icons. You can design it, upload it here. My icon looks beautiful. Now, what I want another image here, which is my logo. Super easy. Go to your widget list and let's grab an image. Here is it. And grab the image here. And if you go to style or config, you will see that it has a default icon for the image or image. So I can delete that. I don't need this. I will upload my logo. Again, go to my desktop folder inside. Here is my logo. Now I need one more button here, which is my info button. I will go to the widget list, or what I can also do is, just to show you, you can copy paste. Select the button, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. Now you have another button here. And if you see the hierarchy, I want this button after the image, I can just drag and drop here, or I can drag and drop within this framework as well. Now I want this logo to be on my right. So what I can do is I can go to style and I want a margin on the left side. I can define how much pixel margin I want, but if I click on auto, it will automatically take all the available space. Perfect. Now on the right side, I need some pixel margin because it doesn't look nice. So what I can do is click on the right side. I will put 16 pixels and now it looks okay. Pretty spacious. Now what I want, I can make a color on the background of my header. In this case, my header is selected. I go down, background color, I can select a bit gray. And it should be working. Oops, what happened? Let me try that again. This was, sorry, not the border color. Here's the background color. And here you go. Now you have a background. Super nice. Now what I also want a footer. So what I can do is I can again take another horizontal container, flex container, drop it below the content. So content is my middle part. I will come to that, what we're going to do here. Container, let's go here. Let's select here again, configure, footer. Footer is defined and I'm going to give it some color. Again, the same color I want to give. There you go. So your color is here. Now what I want to put my website name inside this footer. So I can go to hierarchy again. And in the widget list, I can select in my widget, you can see text, right? Just bring it inside this text. And now this is my horizontal container. I will select my container, go to config and go to center. So my text is in the center. Go back to my hierarchy, select my text, go to config, write the name of the website, codeandcompile.com. And if you go to style, you can also see you can select what you want to style. This is the styling, IQ styling. I want to give styling to my value, which is the text value. And here I can decide my font, Roboto bold, 22 pixel and bold. Super nice. Now I have my header and these buttons, I'm going to give it some, this button should have a different image. I totally forgot. So I'm going to upload a different image. Go to desktop, my folder. So you can prepare your images before making your HMI. So this is my info button. So these buttons I will hyperlink to different screens, which I'm going to show you later on. So now, what about the content? The content is in the middle. I can increase and decrease the content based on the screen size, but the best way is you go to Style, delete the height, and make it a flex grow, which will automatically take all the available space. And now you have a nice screen with a header and footer. An interesting part is, I will first save it. This is responsive. So this is the preview. You can see that how responsive it is. Super nice, right? Now this is your base layout. We have created a header, content, and footer. Now because my header footer is there, I can put here some multiple screens. So header footer will remain same for all the screens. In this case, what we can do, we can put some multiple screens here. To do that, you can go to widget list and go to panel and take swipe panel. Just drag and drop inside your content container. Now if you go to hierarchy, you will see panel is here. And this is your content. And you notice that panel is right now automatically width is 100%, but the height is not. But we can increase the height. Click on the panel, go to style, and the height you can give here 100%. And now panel is stretched to 100% of the available size. Super easy. And now here this button will tell you can go inside the panel and make the changes. All right, so let's go inside. And now you are inside the panel. So here you can see that in the hierarchy, this will only show the hierarchy of the panel. If you go out from this button here or this button here, you will see the hierarchy of the whole header, content, and footer. But once you're inside the panel, then you will see only hierarchy of the panel. All right. Okay, now let's see what we're going to do with the panel inside. First thing, we have to add a vertical container here. So in this case, you can see here it says view 1. Now this is my first view, which is my first screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a vertical container inside this panel, or I can drop it here. So this is my vertical container. Now I want to add a heading here. And now this vertical container, you can see the width is automatically 100%. I can enlarge that to the height of 100%. So now my vertical container is inside the panel, my first view. Now here I want to add a title. In this case, I can go to my widget list, go to the widgets and take a text, bring it here. And now in this text, I can write, let's call this first screen a home screen. And one thing before you go inside the text, I want to use this container and I want to add padding to this container. All right, so this will make it look nicer because now the text is on the extreme left, which I don't want. So container, style, padding, I can give 16, apply to all directions. And now you can see that this text is automatically having a padding all around it. Super nice. Go back to hierarchy, select your text, config, and here I can write home. This is my home screen. I can go to styling and I can, similarly like before, I can make it Roboto 40 pixel and center align. So my text is center align, looks super nice. Now what I can do is I can add another container because I want to, let's say, show here a graph and some widgets here. So what we're going to do here now, in this case, we add another horizontal container, horizontal flex container. Let's bring it that here, and you will see that this container is below my text. And let's rename this container as upper. Looks nice. And let's add one more container and let's call it as lower. Another horizontal flex container. And let's call it as lower. All right, so now we have two containers. Let's give them a background color so we can understand what we are doing. So let's give a background color again. I will just maybe copy this. And this is my upper container and this is my lower container. I can also give a background color. All right. Now they are almost touching each other. What I can do is I can give some padding. So here I will select my upper container and maybe I can give margin, not the padding, 8 pixel. And now you can see that this is upper and also on the top, 8 looks nice. And this is lower. Now we want to make this container covering the whole space in your main container, on the vertical container. What I can do is I can stretch this container. In this I will do 1, here 0, and you can see that this will stretch. And I will also give him 1 and 0, which means it will take a ratio of 1 by 1. If I take upper container 2, then the ratio is 2 by 1. So you can see that like this. This is 2 ratio 1. So in this case, I just want 1 by 1, which is fine for me. Now we have two containers, upper and lower. And let's say in the lower container, I want 2 more rectangles here for different values. Okay. In this case, I will go to my hierarchy. This is my lower container. And here I want to add another vertical container in this case. So I will select vertical container, drop it here. So I have my vertical container here. Let's call it as left. Super nice. Now we'll take another container and I will call it as right. Here, go to configure, right. Now these two containers can take 50% of the space. So what I can first do is I will first give it a color so we understand what's going on. So I will give a background color, this one and this one for the left and right. And I will just remove the color for the main container. Now you will understand what's happening. So we have these two containers inside the horizontal container. So I can stretch the size of that. In this case, I can just give him a width of 50% and also width of 50%. And now you notice how this container has been stretched to 50%. And now to make it look nice, I will give some padding. So, or maybe some margin, right? So margin here, I will give 8 pixel. And on the left also, this on the top, 8 pixel will also looks nice. Here as well on the top, 8. And on the left side, 8. And now you notice, because of 50% width of these two containers, this is going to the edge. We can solve that by giving a shrink of 1 and 0. This is how you can organize your container. If you want to learn more about how you can organize this container, you can check the videos of Smart HMI YouTube channel. They have wonderful explanation, better than mine, to teach you how you can play around with the containers. So now we have these containers ready. Let's save it and see how does it look like. Now we go to preview. Here you go. Super responsive, super nice. These containers are here. Now, interesting part. Let's go to hierarchy. We have this first view, right? This is my first screen. Let's go outside the panel, or even here I can show you. This is my view 1. And let's say I want to rename that to my view, which is called home. So I can do that here. Home. Now I want another view, which is called factory. All right. So in this case, I can just go to plus. This will add another view. So this is, you can see now 1 by 2, and this is now 2 by 2. This is empty. And this view, I can rename that to factory. Apply, apply. Now I have two views. And here you can see that in the view 1, I have hierarchy, and that's view 2, I have nothing. What I can do is, super interesting, I can copy this container because this has everything inside the screen. You can copy, go to the next screen, and you can paste. Super easy. Now my second screen is also having all these containers. Super fast, and I can just change this name from home to factory. All right, let's check it out now. We can save this, preview, and now you have your home screen. And if you want to go to the right, because it's a swipe, I can swipe. Now I'm in the factory and both are responsive. Super nice. And you can see on the bottom on which screen you are. There's a full screen and that's my second screen. All right. Super easy, super nice. So we have containers here defined. Now the next step is we have to move some data inside. All right, let's do that. In this case, let's first go to, let's say, where we can find the data. Okay, we need some data. Let's talk about simulation data. So in the next video, I will tell you how we can do PLC data. In this video, let's talk about simulation data. In this case, what we're going to do, we go to IO Manager. So you have an IO Manager on the left side. This is here where we can define your data sources. So WebIQ has an internal OPC UA server, which you can use for your sample data. So there is a specific URL which you need to add here. So you can go to create entry. Put the name, I can type here WebIQ OPC UA. And this is a shared library IO handler OPC UA. And here I can type my URL. I will put this URL in the description, but you can use it here, opc.tcp ://opcua.webiq.de48010. So this is predefined URL from the WebIQ. You don't need any username and password, just click apply. And you will have your OPC UA here. Oops, I put wrong spelling. Let me just, okay, now it's already enabled. Anyways, mistakes happen. So I wrote VQIQ, all is good. Okay, now if you go inside here, let's go back to, oops, where is it? Process Data Manager. In Process Data Manager, you can go to Browse, and here you will notice your WebIQ server defined. In this case, you can go to Objects, Demo Servers, and then you have these variables. So you have random float, random int, saw, sign, static float, int, and string. So let's take some variables. So in this case, you can right click on that and click create variable. So I'm going to create a random float. So it will randomly change the float value. Okay. The name of the variable is random float. And I will say, let's call it simulated random float. Okay. And let's go to random int and I can create variable. Also call it simulated random int. And so I can also take, you can give any name you want. Simulated. So sine wave I don't want, so, or maybe let's take another sine wave just to understand. Simulated sine. So I have random int, float, so, and sine. And let's take one static int or static float. Simulated static float. All right, let's close that. And now you will see that you have all your simulated variable defined here. But you can work on this variable again. So for example, here, if you click on that, you will see the name here, type float, PLC name, type set, and then you have data and you have limits. So you can define whatever you like over here. So in this case, let's say we have random float and I want to use this as my temperature. I can also type it here, temperature, and I press enter. And now it's type float. And here I want the units to be degrees Celsius. So I can type here, degree centigrade, and I can define update interval. This I can do set, and it's 100 millisecond. And it's label. I can also define the label. And in this label, once you define it here by doing the append, you will see that label will be automatically linked to the widget. So I'm going to type here, machine temperature. All right. This is done. Decimal places, I can also set, I want 2, and I don't need any limits, and I can apply. I can see that this is applied temperature, float with all my parameters. I can do simultaneously for the other variables. So let me do that for random int, which I want as my level. All right, so I have defined my variables here. We have temperature, level, simulated saw, sine wave, and set point. Then what you can do is you can update the items. So it will apply the structure and variable configurations. Perfect, everything is done. Now we can go back to our layout manager. And let's say I want to put some information here. Let's take our first example. I want to put here a graph where I want to simulate the values. So I can go to my widget list, and here I can check my trend, and I can add a trend here. And before you add a trend, or you can also do now, you can add some padding here to this container so that it looks nice. Apply to all directions. So now my graph is here. And let me make it a little bit shorter so that it looks nice. And I can go to config and center align my graph. Okay, looks nice. Okay, now let's put some widgets here. In this case, I'm gonna take a widget. Let's call it as a radial gauge. I can put it here, and I can also define some padding to this. So I can put padding 16, apply to all directions. And let's add a padding here as well. Apply to all directions. And in this case, I'm going to add some other widgets. So maybe let's take a widget called text display. This is my text display, and I will take a widget called button rocker. So now we have several widgets here. Now if I want to associate this widget with my temperature, I can select the widget, go to my config, and in the item, you can select which item you want to give it to him. So I can go here and say it's my temperature. Super nice, click apply, and you can see that temperature is here. And here in this widget, you can also define the minimum and the maximum value. So this is generally defined in your process data manager. So the temperature has a set of minimum and maximum value, which you can see that here, input display limits. You can set the limits. Minimum, I can say 0, maximum, I can say 100, and apply. Let's do that for the level. All right, let's update the items. Click yes, and go back to the layout manager. And now you can see that the limits are applied, and the gauge limit is automatically taken from my, here's a minimum maximum automatically taken from my tag. That's the beauty of it. Now here I want to display, let's say we have level displayed, and I want to display here the level. So the level is displayed with the unit centimeter. And here I want to do the set point of the temperature. In this case, I can go here again, and we can do set point. So this is my set point, that's my level, that's my temperature. And here I want to just simulate saw wave and sine wave. Okay, how to do that? It's very interesting. So if you see that here, it says select trend. And if I select the value, there is nothing here. So we need to add some trend values. In this case, you go to your trend manager, or you will find recorder manager. And here you have data recorder and trend. So we have to have a data recorder. You can do a plus, and then you will find a data recorder. I will just put trend demo. Database, I can just put database. You can also connect this to your database. You can save the values in the database as well. Commit interval says commit to disk after how many milliseconds. Let's say 500 milliseconds. It will write the data into the database. Recording interval, I will also take 500 milliseconds. It will record every 500 milliseconds from the data source. Retention time, I can say 30 days. It will retain in the database. All right. Once you do that, click on apply, and you should be having your recorder here. Trend demo, and then you can have extra items. Now I can see which item I want to see in my trend. I want to see simulated saw, simulated sine. These two. Click apply, and click apply. And now you should be having two trends values here. Let's go back to the layout manager, select our trend, and then you can select the values which you want to show here. Simulated sine, apply, and I can add one more. Simulated saw. Saw we already had, sine we're going to take. And here you can see some parameters. I will not go into detail. You can say start in live mode. So now this is the live mode. Everything is working fine. Let's save that and visualize that in the preview. Here we go. Now you have some simulated values, coming from our internal OPC UA server, a saw wave, a sine wave, machine level, and this is the set point which I can change using these buttons. Super easy to create an HMI, that's the temperature. And you can see that it's pretty much responsive. Super nice, isn't it? So that's how you can create your HMI. And you can also slide here for the factory and come back here as well. These two buttons I will explain in the next video, where we will see how we can also display these values or control the values using a PLC S7-1500 via OPC UA. The second part of our video was to make a test run on the ctrlX core. So what we're going to do is, right now we are running this in our laptop. I want to run this in my ctrlX core. In this case, it's very interesting. You have to first make sure your ctrlX core has the app installed. So if I go to my settings, I go to my apps, you will see I have an app, WebIQ Server App Runtime. This should be installed and you should have a valid license for that, okay? So go to ctrlX Core Store, purchase this app, install it into your ctrlX Core, and once it's installed, you will see WebIQ Runtime Manager, okay? You can click on this Runtime Manager, and here you have to first log in. So my login ID is admin, password is Bosch Rexroth. This is the default ID and password. You can click on login. And then once you log in, you will see HMI projects. You have no projects here. So we're going to transfer the projects to our ctrlX core. Close that and make sure your laptop is connected to ctrlX core. So now to view that on ctrlX core, you can go here, close the HMI project list and publish the project. This is very important. We publish the project, so it will optimize the files, check out if everything is okay, and package this whole HMI project. So once you publish that, you will go back to your main screen, and let's see that in a couple of seconds. Here we go, publishing HMI project. There you go. And now here you will see Remote Runtime Manager. Okay, you have to click on that and you have to remember which project it was. In our case, it's project 1, Remote Runtime Manager, and then it will search for the remote servers. So in this case, I have my computer, Dr. Code, that's my computer, and it automatically searches my ctrlX core. If not, you can just give the IP address. I have to make sure it is correct. My IP address is 076, which is not 50. You can just put here 76 and press enter. And then I will go to connect. Username, I will again put admin, Bosch Rexroth. Click OK. Now it's connecting. It's connected. Now you can see that this is my remote WebIQ server, which has no projects, and this is same as here because I have no projects here. What you can do is select which project you want to download. Select this one, and what you can do is you can have set auto start. You can start the project, delete the project, refresh the settings, and with this icon you can transfer to ctrlX core. Click on this one, and now it's transferring my project to ctrlX core. It will take a couple of seconds. It's completed. Now my project is here. You can also have multiple projects, right? And then I can minimize that. I can go to my ctrlX core. Let me refresh this window. Ask me to log in again. Bosch Rexroth, login. Now I'm logged in. I go to my HMI projects. Wow, my project is here. Select the project, and you have several settings. You can download the project from ctrlX core to your computer, or you can delete, check the properties, or you can just start it. So once you start the project is started, and then you can also go here and stop the project or click on open. So once I click open, I have a new window, and there we go. We have a project, and now comes the same project, username and password, which we defined in the first step, which was my code and compile. And here's a project photo, which I didn't took, a bit lazy. So let's click on login, and there you go. That's your screen. But here now, because it was my internal OPC UA server, you don't see the screens. You don't see the simulated value. This you only see because my OPC UA simulation is in my computer. But in the next video, when we talk about reading the data from the PLC, you will see the values here. All right. This is about how you can just visualize your HMI on ctrlX core, and you can see that it's responsive. All right. Super interesting. And if you're using your mobile phone or tablet, you can just open up this IP address into your remote device or external computer as well. Super nice. So this was the idea of the example 1. Design the HMI, with logo, navigation buttons, and some simulated value. In the next example, we're going to do the same, but we're going to connect you over Siemens PLC and read the value from the Siemens PLC via Siemens OPC UA Server. All right, see you in the next video. Thank you.